Do you remember playing? We talk about tough, neighborhoods. There's always that tougher one. Like we grew up in an area that was like, oh, what about them?
Yeah.
And I remember we went and played a game at a school, and it was like, I don't know, their one of their days, a multicultural day or something.
Yeah, I think it was.
And they were having a special assembly, and part of it was like they invited us to go to the assembly, and we're like,
us, these special guests.
Yeah, we were the special guests, right? And we kind of sat right in the middle of, like, there was 900. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember it was heaps of kids there. Yeah,
heaps, right? And so we were kind of right smack in the middle, and then it was like, okay, finish the assembly, everyone, let our guests leave first, and everyone just got up, and we were the last to leave. And I'm like, oh wow, this is going to be fun. There was some fun stuff on the field. What was that one?
Well, a dog ran on the field, and one of our mates was laughing, and then someone from the crowd pointed at him and said, "Don't laugh at the dog." And he was like, okay. And I remember that poor friend of ours was on the wing that day, and the crowd was all on one side. The other winger wouldn't swap sides with him in the other half, and made him stand on the same side as the crowd the whole game.
You already dealt with it in the first half. You can continue.
I remember I was made captain that day because I was the only one that dared to go in the change rooms. They said, I'm not going in there, so I'll go in. So I went in, and they were like, oh, okay, yeah, you can be captain today. And the guy that was the other captain was a guy we played with back in under 15s. I remember he had an awesome step. And I remember I tackled him that day. I stopped him pretty well.
Yeah, I remember.
But I have to tell another story. We've already talked about my defensive prowess. That day was one of the greatest days of my life. There was a guy on their team who was about your size.
Yep.
He came and played with us at the Blacktown Warriors, actually.
Oh, did he really?
When we first started, yeah. His name's Dean. I'll mention his name because I'm sure he's not listening. And he broke through our line. I was at fullback. He looked at me and smiled because I still remember his mouth guard. He smiled at me thinking, oh, yes, I get to run over the top of this guy. And I did what I do. I dropped him. And this is the cool bit. I think we were in year 10 that year, and all the year 11 girls from our year, from the year above us, were playing in the girls' game, and they were standing on the sideline watching. And let's just say, they went off.
It was your moment.
It was my greatest moment. Yeah, to pull off a tackle like that in front of all those girls.
I still remember because it was probably me that missed the tackle on him or something. I don't know. I look back and I'm like, okay. And then all I remember is this guy, like huge unit. Yeah. And then you were engulfed. All I saw so you hit him, and I see him kind of go backwards somehow. I don't know how the whole mechanics of it worked. But I just
that's the mechanics of it.
Two little legs, like I couldn't see you other than these two little legs supporting this big mammoth of a human. I hadn't dropped him. So I was like, oh, okay, sure enough.
And he dropped the ball too.
Yeah. I still remember that tackle. That was one of the moments I was like, oh wow, you can actually really tackle. No, I never felt like uncomfortable with anyone around you. But do you remember at the end of that game, we all got on the bus. So it was, and so obviously we had the girls team there. I don't remember the girls being on the bus at this point, but our teacher, our coach, had got us like a big esky full of drinks, because it was a hot day and we'd been there a while, and talking about tough areas. So we're from a reasonably tough area, but we thought we were okay. But we just had this experience of the assembly and please don't laugh at this dog in other terms, and all the other bits and pieces that came with it, and these two guys from their team that we just played walked onto the bus and picked up the esky and just walked off. Not one of us, not one of us even made a noise. And then it was just like accepted that was that was going to happen. So we supplied drinks, or the teachers supplied drinks to them. No, we didn't really.
Oh God. You got to pick your battles. I think that bus would have been shaken in like one of those movies. They would have tipped the bus.
Confined space, and
yeah,
the driver wasn't anywhere to be seen. So I was like, we were trapped.
Yeah,
like, you know what? We're not that thirsty anyway. There's a tapper.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Jared.
Thanks, mate.